Very well.
I might recognise some of you too. Come up and have a bit of a close look. Come here often? Do you? No. I do. I love reading, love books, all of that. Love public transport. Anyone get a bus here tonight? Yeah. Woo, the buses! Public transport, can't beat it. Did you pay? How about any train goers? Any trains tonight? Yeah. Jump the barriers, did you? Not this time. Oh, you've got to keep doing it or you do lose practice. It's just a confidence thing. Once you start doing the right thing, it's hard to go back to your old ways. Then they just become a fun, distant memory. A romantic image of what you were. Not who you want to be. Like me. There's a naughty one. I see a naughty face right there. You're the kind that would have got kicked out of the classroom, aren't you? Yes. I can spot him a mile off. You're just like me. That's why I like you already. Very good. Oh, my shillings and sixpence. Oh, it's all gone awry. Oh, breaking glass. Oh, H&S. We're going to have to cancel it, everybody. What a disaster. Oh, my God, the woman running the library's going to have a nervous breakdown. She can't handle it when this stuff goes wrong. And it always does when I'm here. Thank you. Oh, how about a bit of Shakespeare? Yes. All right. I'll give you one of my bog standards. Here we go. To be or not to be? That is the question. Whether it is nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles and by opposing end them. Who's paying for this anyway? Am I doing this for free? Oh, I'm losing my mind.
Come on, Bea, you've had your time. Off you go.
Hey, no, I won't go.
Bea, I told you, I won't tell you again. Come on now, get out.
Oh, you bastard.
Get out. Off you go, Bea, off you go.
All right.
Hello. Sorry, I'm late. Hello. 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 Welcome to the State Library of New South Wales. My name is Mavis Cranston. I'm a librarian here. And I've been counting down the days to this very special event. Here we are, Dictionary by a Bitch, which is the title of one of the journals by Bea Miles. Come in, find a seat. You're just in time to hear all about her. Oh, the fabulous Bea Miles. Where to begin? She was born in 1902. Well, she didn't fit in then, and she would even less so now. What was our world of rules and regulations? QR codes, hand sanitizers, bureaucracy. Bea Miles was the antithesis of all of this. She could not, and she would not, comply Why? Because she was a real eccentric. She was an anti-authoritarian, a rule-breaking bohemian. Here we are, in the State Library, a place that Bea loved so very much and spent so many hours in here, immersed, reading voraciously, going through the catalogues. Remember the old wooden ones? Slide them out, slide them in, slide them out again. Yes. Well, this was Bea's happy place. Oh, we are walking the same ground that Bea did. Yes, I know it's all been renovated. Just go with me. We are inhabiting the same space that Bea did. Oh, the dichotomy of being Bea meant on the one hand loving the order of a well-organised library, but on the other hand, her face was in the papers constantly for rule breaking. She was constantly on the run from the police. She was notorious. She treated this city as if it were her own personal playground, to which she had the golden key, so she said. Public transport, taxis, cinemas, all of these were free to her, so she said. She treated this city as if it were her own stage, upon which she played the main role. Her trade was reciting Shakespeare for shillings and sixpence right out here on the steps of the State Library. And she also had many encounters with strangers in public places. Just talking. Not anything else, just talking. But she talked to so many, hundreds and hundreds, and people would remember these stories for the rest of their lives. Let's talk about her writing. Her journals are compelling. I have spent hours down in the Mitchell Library, immersed in her stories, fascinated by her adventures. She was fearless. For a single woman, travelling around Australia alone, hitchhiking, is pretty wild. Well, Bea was doing this 100 years ago. Yes, she was. Sometimes, when I'm down in the Mitchell Library, reading her journals, I believe I can feel her presence. And sometimes, when I'm deep in a story of hers, I believe there's a little bit of Bea in me. Oh, excuse me. Oh, where was I? Oh, that's right, Bea. Well, when she was young, she was a tall, natural beauty. Yes. Unfortunately, when she went to the psychiatric hospital, she became really overweight. She writes about the stodgy, fatty foods, which led to chronic constipation. Constipation? Ah, everything smelled and tasted rotten. Ever been in hospital? Remember the food? There's your ballpark. Or spend any time in jail? You look like you might have. Well, loony bin food is even more disgusting. You eat less because it tastes like shit, but you get fatter because it's made from
Shit. But it's pure stodge, so you can't. Shit. It's shit. The enema is no enemy. The enema is the ally. Has anyone got an enema on them now? I'm feeling a bit blocked up. Somebody must in your handbag. What about out here? There were some people sitting out here. Any enemas out here? If you got one, bring it in this way.
Where did she come from? Well, she was born to a well-off family. She grew up on the North Shore, where she attended Abbottsley Girls' School, very prestigious. She was a brilliant student and got really high marks. So she was admitted straight into Sydney University to study medicine. Medicine! This was extremely unusual for a woman in that time. Now, once she started there, she decided to swap to arts, following her passion for literature, and then she started an English degree. But she didn't complete it because she came down with an illness. And she said that she would never come back because there's not enough Australian content in the syllabus. I don't want to study just poems, do you? No. We've got to learn our own stories and the stories of those that came before us, Aboriginal stories. That's what we should be studying.
So, she started writing herself journals. First, about her bizarre experiences in the psychiatric hospitals, and then about her epic journeys all around Australia.
I'm not a gentleman. No. And I'm no lady either. La-di-da. Oh, you gotta have a bit of fun, don't ya? We only got one life. You might as well enjoy it. So, light up and smoke, folks. Don't let them clip your wings. We got to enjoy it while we can. Tell you what though, Sydney must be in a pretty good situation if there's time and resources to keep targeting little old me. Look at me. 195 charges against me. And proud. But don't the coppers have something better to do than chase a woman around for not paying for her bus fares? Oh, bloody coppers. New South Wales Police, eh? They're a law unto themselves. How many coppers does it take to throw a prisoner down the stairs? None. She fell. Strike me down if that's not true.
B would strike up conversations with people in parks, post offices, buses, anywhere there was a possibility of social interaction. Now, this came to be expected behaviour by the general public. However, it wasn't always welcome. including, unfortunately, the State Library itself.
Shh! You speak too loudly. You're disturbing people. This is a library.
Well, I'm not going anywhere. What? No, I'm not going. Come on, I'm here every day. I've read more books in here than you have in a lifetime. It's a public library? Well, I'm one of the public, aren't I? Eh? Shh, shh, shh. Sorry, what's that? I speak too loudly. Maybe you speak too quietly. Shh, shh, shh. Sorry, speak up. Can't hear you. Can't hear you. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. There's a word for me. Bibliophile. Bibliophile. And there's a word for you. Philistine. Philistine. Know what they mean? No, didn't think so. Then look them up. Hey, what about my Shakespeare on the steps? One person pays, but you all listen for free. I'm an attraction. You should put me on the payroll. You wait. You'll be reading my books in here one day. Wait and see. Drag me out. I dare ya. I'll chain myself to the special collection reading room tables. Actually, I bet I can run faster than you. Catch me if you can. Keep up, you bastards. Bea's anti-authoritarian streak went way back to her home life, where she had an oppressive and an extremely violent father. She was very outspoken, which he found infuriating, so he'd try and beat her into submission. You beat me, and you'd break things. Me, you hoped, but I wouldn't break. You couldn't subjugate me. It just made you angrier. Why angry? Because you paid all that money for the best schooling, Abbottsley, where I became top student, Ducks. Were you proud of me then? Initially. But that changed. You became jealous. You said I was better educated than you. So you beat me? You beat me till I couldn't stand anymore. You beat me till the hitting stick broke. And you threw the broken bits out the window along with my leaving certificate. Quite the education. William John Miles was an unusual individual. He was a political mover and shaker. He was a fascist. He started the first fascist party in Australia, Australia First, in 1941. In public, he was a well-respected businessman, but in private, he was a bully. You'd beat me in the bedroom, you'd beat me in the living room, but most of all, you beat me in the den in front of your collection of prized dictionaries.
Oh, I spent a lot of time looking at them. And you beat the alphabet into me from A to Z. One day I'll write my own dictionary. F will be for father, furious and frightening. F will also be for forbidden. I was forbidden to touch his books or look at his things. So when he wasn't there, that's all I'd do. I committed to reading every single page of every single one of them and putting my hands all over them. I'm a lady on a bike with a big loud voice in the middle of town. I don't need a mic. I don't stop for red light, but I stop at green. Oh, it's nice to see you, but it's nicer to be seen. I'm wearing a fancy dress, don't get it caught up in the chain. But if I get grease marks all over it, no need to explain. I'm a lady on a bike with a big loud voice in the middle of town. I don't need a mic. Life is for living. Free love, everybody. Have sex with whoever you want. Have fun.
Wednesday, the 21st of March, 1925. Defendant is charged with vagrancy. Defendant was found sleeping at the entrance of St Stephen's Church. Case proved, but woman is dismissed on the promise she won't do it again.
I don't make promises.
Friday, the 30th of February, 1942. Central Police Court. Beatrice Miles is charged with refusing to pay fares and being a public nuisance.
Never!
For throwing the conductor's cap out of the tram window. 3 months in jail.
There are so many anecdotes about Bea Miles that it is difficult to choose just one that gives an idea of her outrageousness. But one that does come to mind is the opening of the Harbour Bridge. It was huge! 750,000 people! Now, for those of you that know the story, there was a political skirmish at the beginning. De Groot, the horse, the cutting of the ribbon. But where Bea comes in is after the Premier's speech. The Premier finishes his speech, they all applaud, and then he makes his way to the official car. He gets in, the engine starts, it starts to move off, and then from the crowd leaps Bea Miles onto the back of it, taking the attention of the entire event.
Woohoo! The Harbour Bridge is now officially open! Watch out, it might be miles before you realise you're giving someone a ride!
Bea was infamous for not paying for public transport, but she was on it constantly. Buses, trams, trains, ferries, you name it. She also loved riding her bicycle through the city wearing a formal dress, honking as she went, singing at the top of her voice often hands-free, so that she could grab onto the back of a passing vehicle. Or she'd simply jump onto the back of bumper bars of cars at red lights. The driver didn't even know they had a passenger until they drove off. Or she'd just get into cars at red lights and demand to be taken somewhere.
So I grew up knowing about Bea through my father. When he was in his 20s, he was driving along somewhere one day and pulled up at the lights, and Bea got in the car. And he knew about her and knew there was no getting her out of the car. So that's what caused her stench. He was actually quite obliging because he had no choice, but then I think he did find her quite entertaining. In the midst of also being slightly terrified. She got where she wanted to go, but she was not getting out of the car until she had finished her Shakespearean reciting, and then it also cost my father money, so she got where she wanted to go, and she also got paid for it, which also led to a little bit of a family obsession of every now and again pulling up at lights, my dad going, I still feel the urge that I need to lock the door.
I love to travel, but I hate to pay. This country, you got to get out there, live it, see it. Public transport's great. You never know who you're going to meet along the way, but sometimes you want to get there quicker, right? Or go your own way. Cab it. I love a good taxi ride. And I've had some memorable ones too, like the one I took to Perth. Now, there were a couple of reasons I took that taxi to Perth. The first was I was on the run from the New South Wales police again. Had to change state. How many coppers does it take to change a light bulb? None. They arrested the bulb for being broke and the room for being black. Strike me down if that's not true. The second reason was I wanted to go and see the Nullarbor. Sounded fascinating. I thought, I'm going to get there one day. I don't care how long it takes. I'm going to get there. And then I thought, well, how about today? So I went out, found myself a driver, the right driver, a woman driver. You don't want to be fighting a bloke off the whole way to Perth, do you? No. We got in the taxi, we headed off on our big adventure, and we drove 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 until we got to the Nullarbor. We entered a different realm, a different world. Time stopped still. We got out of the taxi, and there were beautiful wildflowers as far as the eye could see. Species that I knew our world had never seen. So I collected as many as I could. Put them in the back seat, put them in the boot, got back in the taxi, and kept going
Destination Perth Botanical Gardens. And when we got there, they were as amazed as we were by these beautiful wildflowers, these species. And they preserved them as native treasures.
Occasionally, Bea was thrown out of taxis for refusing to leave them when asked. She had extraordinary physical strength and was almost impossible to eject.
Get out, you bloody mongrel!
No, I won't go. Let go, you bastard. Move your legs as fast as you can so that they can't grab onto them and drag you out. Kick at them. Aim for the balls. Scream at the top of your lungs the whole time you're doing it. Ah! Now, if you think they're winning, jump out quick and surprise them by ripping off the door. What?
On more than one occasion, Bea was beaten up badly by angry taxi drivers. She received some serious head injuries, and I'm sad to say it did not deter her from doing it again.
Taxi!
Bugger off!
Bastards.
Tuesday the 11th of June, 1950. Central Court. Beatrice Miles is charged with behaving in an offensive manner
Did not.
in Parramatta Road by jumping onto the backs of cars. Fined £3.
Not pain.
Wednesday the 19th of May, 1945. Goulburn Court. Woman is charged with behaving in an offensive manner by standing at the centre of the main road and stopping cars like a policeman in order to get a ride to Sydney. The defendant dislikes the term hitchhike, which she says is an American expression, preferring hail
Hail
and
and
ride,
ride.
which she says is more
Or
Australian.
Australian.
Case dismissed.
Good.
I saw Bea Miles on a bus travelling from Broadway to Sydney Uni. I was delighted that she sat next to me. She was friendly, energetic and eccentric. She wanted to have a competition to see who could count the most white cars before we got to the uni. I
Me.
can't remember. I left the bus but would have preferred to continue the journey with her because she was such good company. I felt sad that her life had been so difficult for her.
The letter R is for refractory. I know what the word means now that I'm in the refractory ward. Stubborn, obstinate, won't respond to treatment. It's 5:30 p.m, still light, but we've all been put to bed. The naughty little inmates of the Gladesville Female Lunatic Asylum. We've all been laid out on camp stretcher beds till 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. Just call it 14 hours. we have to lie down. Be quiet. Hopefully, at some point tonight, there'll be a bitch fight. I didn't used to like violence, but in here, I've come to love it. Breaks up the boredom. I'm getting quite good at it too. Mainly, squashing people. I'm big, tall, heavy-boned. There's no one in here I can't squash! Ooh, 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 ooh. Oh. My life! What happened? One year, I'm at Sydney University reading English poetry and flirting with the other arts students. And the next year, I'm locked up in a loony bin, hosing shit of incontinent patients, squashing people. Get away from me. Get away. Doctors are the devil. I'm not religious, but evil is real. We, the inmates of the psychiatric experiments of 1923, they're sadists. Sedation is the way, so they say. But one thing they all agree on is Bea's not crazy. Bea Miles is not insane. Bea Miles? Yeah, is this not insane? Bea Miles is not insane. So why was I there? My father. I was an embarrassment. So he had me locked away forever. I met women in there who'd been locked up for more than 10 years. Put in by a husband or a father or a son who for whatever reason was sick of them. And until I belonged to my husband, I belonged to my father. And this may come as a bit of a surprise, but there's not a lot of marriage material in the female lunatic asylum. I don't know. Was I just being too picky? So my plan? Escape before they send me mad. In the meantime, play the game. Be the toughest person in the ward. The top dog, never the bottom. Stick with my strengths. Squashing! If in doubt, pick first, ask later. Were there family visits? No, none. Dad washed his hands at me. Mum, she was always sick. And my siblings chose to forget that I ever existed. But they managed to have a lovely family holiday in Paris while I was locked away. So, there's got to be a silver lining somewhere to being locked up in a loony bin. Yes, there is. I heard the foulest language I had ever heard. My world is full of feces, I say facetiously. At Abbottsley Ladies' School, we say feces, if we must, or excreta. Not in here, we don't. In here, we say shit. 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 Don't be scared of shit. And don't be scared of shit, because there's shitloads of it. Get good at cleaning up the shitty bits. Wipe it off the walls, wipe it off the floors, and the arses. Yeah, I learned a bit of kindness and some patience. But as for the rest of them, boom, scare them. But I'll do it all in a way that doesn't attract attention, so I can keep working on my grand plan. Escape. I'm going to notice every detail of every situation and file them away up here until I get to a pen and paper, because it's all going down. It's all research. Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow creeps in this petty pace from day to day, to the last syllable of recorded time. And all our yesterdays have lighted fools the way to dusty death. Out, out, brief candle. Life is but a walking shadow. A poor player who struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing.
Saturday the 19th of March 1927. Bea Miles is currently a missing person, having escaped successfully the fourth time from the Gladesville Female Lunatic Asylum, with help from Smith's Weekly, who ran the story Society Girl Trapped in a Madhouse. She is believed to be in hiding from the police.
Shh. Bea would sleep rough. She would sleep in a variety of places, from a cave behind a beach, to park benches, to a stormwater drain pipe at Rushcutters Bay. You can have it all if you own nothing. On a hot summer's night with a salty sea breeze blowing through the masts, with a clicking and clacking and little waves lapping, there's no place I'd rather be. Even if it's low tide and stinky, I'm alive and stinky too. With a tang in the air and the breeze in my hair, I'm alive, I'm alive, I'm alive, I'm alive, I'm alive, I'm alive, I'm alive. I look up into the night sky and I wish I could see all the stars, but I can't because of the bright city lights. I wonder what the Aboriginal people saw
what stories they told, looking up from this very same spot. They belong to the land. Do I belong to the land? I think I do. I think we all do. But people are too S for stupid to understand. I just don't belong in a abode with walls and doors. I belong here, to this place. Home is where my heart is. When I lie on the ground, it holds me. If I cry, it soaks up my tears. And at night, the leaves whisper my lullaby.
Come on, Bea, give us some Shakespeare. I'll sling you a couple of bob.
All right. Be not afeard, the isle is full of noises, sounds and sweet airs that give delight and hurt not. Sometimes 1,000 twangling instruments will hum about mine ears, and sometimes voices that if I then had waked after long sleep will make me sleep again. And then in dreaming, the clouds, methought, would open and show riches ready to drop upon me, that when I waked, I cried to dream again.
Bea Miles? Constable Thompson. We know you're sleeping down here. There've been complaints. Your dwelling's an eyesore. The public come here to relax and enjoy themselves, not seeing a bag lady lay out her crap. Pick up your swag, get out, and don't come back. Thursday the 4th of September 1951. Beatrice Miles is charged with begging alms at Sydney Domain. But the defendant claims she was collecting money for the
Sydney Symphony Orchestra.
who were playing there. Case dismissed.
Just because I'm 60, you don't want to strip search me anymore? Oh, when I was young and I hated it, you couldn't get enough of it then. How the tables have turned.
Bea, you've been asked twice now. Move along.
So you don't want to strip search me?
Definitely not. Just move along.
Have I been right? Or have I been wrong? I'm sick of getting the move along. Well, cut me up, copper. Or do you want me out of here? I get what you're saying. Woo! You want me to take off my gear. Getting hot under the collar, bored on the street, been pounding the pavement, it's dead on your beat. Well, move me along, but more than that, you can strip search me, woo! But I'll leave on my hat. Now, won't you help a woman take off her dress? If there's one thing I've learned, I know when you say no that it means yes.
sugar. Won't you help a woman, please? Take off her dress. If there's one thing I've learned, I know when you say no that it means yes.
I was just moving you along. I'll now have to charge you a public indecency.
Ha!
Thursday the 16th of March 1951. Beatrice Miles is charged with offensive behaviour towards a policeman. Fined £2 for indecency.
Yeah.
Fined £2 or 4 days for resisting arrest.
Bastard.
Fined £3 or 6 days for insulting words.
Bastard.
And £1 or 2 days for damaging his watch. Sunday the 14th of August 1948. Beatrice Miles is charged with refusing to leave a taxi, which had been already hired upon entering.
Yeah.
Fined £2.
Not paying.
I saw a Bea Miles a few times as a young fella. I used to see her reciting Shakespeare outside the State Library. You see, she found a spot under a portico where legally the cops couldn't move her, and neither could the library. Very clever. She knew her rights.
Yeah.
There's a great story about Metcalf, who was running the library at the time, and he was sick of her being there. He thought she was a public nuisance. B claimed she knew all Shakespeare. And he said, if I can pick one that you don't know, will you move on? And she loved the bet, so she said, yeah, you're on. He chose an obscure sonnet, thinking that she'd never know it. Well, she got in because not only did she know it, but she recited it beautifully and then charged him top price. So more expensive. So then he had to run and get his wallet and pay her in front of everyone.
To keep writing, I need my own space. Well, I got plenty of that. But I'm lonely. I'm so lonely it hurts. I wish I had a child. Sometimes when I see children, I want one so much. I cry. But the doctors have told me I'm not allowed to have children. People like me shouldn't reproduce. I want someone to hold. But who wants to hold a freak? Would I be better off with a man? Maybe. But I'd rather be lonely than stuck with a man who doesn't respect me.
Bea did have a man in her life for a while. He was her number one taxi driver, Brian Harper. He was in love with her, but he broke her golden rule. He asked her to marry him.
If I've told you once, I've told you 1,000 times, Brian. I don't believe in the institution of marriage.
I've had a gutful of institutions.
Tuesday the 15th of July 1951. Constable Richardson had accused Beatrice Miles of walking along the footboard of a moving tram, pulling the conductor's cap off and throwing it across the road. Constable Richardson approached the defendant, who then lay across the footpath, throwing her around. 3 months for riding without a tram. A train ticket and misbehaved stealing a conductor's hat for poking the tongue out.
You get used to running. The more you run, the faster you get. The dodging and weaving and little victories of tram and train jumping, evading the fares, the fines and the cops as you go. But I'm sick of running from men. Dad, doctors, judges, cops, men who can't stand a woman having her own mind. A woman who wants to spend her life reading, writing, travelling. Who doesn't want to spend her lifetime in a kitchen, making meals, making babies, and making everybody happy. Am I crazy for not wanting that? Am I a menace to society for wanting to live life my own way? Am I some kind of absurd joke for being different? If I were a man, would they chase me like this? No, they wouldn't. They'd laugh and let me off, a larrikin. But I'm a woman, so lock her up. What is the difference between you and me? We're all only 2 steps away from homelessness, so they say. I'm not running anymore. I belong here, to this place. My home is where my heart is. No one can take this away from me. The sun, the stars, the sky. I'm theirs till my bones turn to dust.
At the peak of her popularity, there were more photos of Bea Miles in the newspapers than there were of the Prime Minister in the papers. And they were going to erect a statue in her honour after her death. But they changed their mind at the last minute. Because they didn't want to encourage people to get on buses without paying. No statue. Isn't that boring? However, she did win over an ex-chief of police, Sydney's toughest, New South Wales' most infamous, Bumper Farrell. They became really close friends. He loved and respected her, and he even visited her on her deathbed. The final irony in the life of a woman who could not be pigeonholed. There is a little piece of Bea in everybody. Inspiration to be the person that you want to be.
I know there's an awful lot of B in me. Erudite. The golden key. To be or not to be? That is the question. The answer? To be, to be, to be!